Hey, sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. I'm back with another video in which I choose my top 5 favorite cards of a particular player. At the end of last week's video, I spun the wheel of names and it landed on Phil Niekro. Now, for some of you who may not be familiar with Phil Niekro's career, during 24 big league seasons, Phil Niekro rode his knuckleball to 5,404 innings pitched, the most by any pitcher who started his career in the live ball era. But Niekro, who pitched for the Braves, Yankees, Indians, and Blue Jays for 24 seasons, was more than simply durable. His 318 wins and 3,342 strikeouts are a testament to a pitcher who was often untouchable. Taught the knuckleball as a youngster by his father, Niekro made the difficult decision to throw it exclusively in the minor leagues, committing his future to a pitch that is completely unpredictable. After 4 years in the minors and another spent in the U.S. Army, Niekro made the Milwaukee Braves opening day roster in 1964. But it wasn't until 3 years later when the team, now in Atlanta, finally committed to giving Niekro regular work. He responded with an 11-9 record and a big league best 1.87 ERA and was on his way to becoming a star. Niekro went 23-13 for the Braves in 1969 as they captured the first ever National League West division title. On August 5th, 1973, Niekro pitched a no-hitter against the Padres. And as the decade wore on, Niekro became more effective. From 1977 to 79, Niekro averaged an incredible 336 innings pitched per year, to go with an average of 19 wins per season and a 3.43 ERA. He was 21-20 in 1979 alone, setting a career high with 342 innings pitched. With 268 wins under his belt, Niekro signed with the Yankees as a free agent following the 1983 season. He would win 32 games with New York over 2 seasons, including his 300th on October 6, 1985. Niekro pitched a 4-hit shutout against the AL East champion Toronto Blue Jays that day, not throwing a knuckleball until the last pitch of the game, when he struck out Toronto's Jeff Burroughs. The Yankees released Niekro toward the end of spring training in 1986, but he quickly hooked on with the Indians, where he won 11 games and pitched 210.1 innings at the age of 47. He retired following the 1987 season with his 318 wins, combining with brother Joe Niekro's 221 to give them the most victories, 539, by any brother combination in big league history. Phil Niekro finished his career with 5 All-Star Game selections, 5 Gold Glove Awards, and 716 games started, which ranks number 5 on the all-time list. Niekro was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1997, and he passed away on December 26, 2020. Now, to help me narrow down the selection of cards that I had to choose my top 5 favorite Phil Niekro cards, I went with the PSA Basic Topps Set Registry Checklist. It's 24 cards from his 1964 rookie card to his final Topps card, his 1987 Topps card. Now, here's where I would love all of you to participate as well. In the description of this video, I'll have a link to the PSA Basic Topps Set Registry Checklist for Phil Niekro. And from those 24 cards, would love to know in the comments which are your top 5 favorite cards of his. And if there are some other cards outside of those 24 Topps cards that you really like of Phil Niekro, feel free to put them in the comments as well, and I'll have them as honorable mentions in next week's video. Now, last week's video was on Fergie Jenkins, and there were a good number of you who put in the comments letting me know which were your top 5 favorite cards of his. I really do appreciate this interaction with those that are watching these videos and letting me know which were your top 5 favorite cards of whatever a player happens to be for that week. Love seeing the difference in opinions and appeal of different cards and how it compares to what I feel are my 5 best favorite. So I'm going to start things off by going over the comments of all of viewers from last week's video, letting me know which were your top 5 favorite Fergie Jenkins cards and comparing them to my top 5 favorite of his. And there's some differing of opinions, again, which is really cool to see. Then I'll get into my top 5 favorite Phil Niekro cards. Then I'll turn the camera around, show off some of the Phil Niekro cards I have in my collection. And then, of course, we'll wrap things up again by spinning the wheel of names to see which player will be the focus for next week's video. So let's get started. All right, for Fergie Jenkins, you had 19 Topps cards to choose your top 5 favorite, from his 1966 rookie card to his final Topps card, his 1984 Topps card. And there were 9 of you who replied in the comments letting me know which were your top 5 favorite cards of his. Again, I really appreciate the interaction with all of you who take the time to put in the comments and letting me know which are your top 5 favorite cards of whatever player it is for that week. But here are the top cards that were voted on. With 6 selections was his 1967 Topps card, his first solo card. Then with 5 selections was his 1972 Topps card. His 1966 rookie card got 4 selections. And then there was a 4-way tie with 3 selections between his 1969, 71, 75, and 77 Topps cards. There were only 3 cards out of his entire run that no one selected: his 1970, 81, and 82 Topps cards. Now, there were some honorable mentions to go along with the selections here, starting off with the 1970 National League pitching leaders featuring Tom Seaver, Phil Niekro, Fergie Jenkins, and Juan Marichal. Then the 1970 Topps National League strikeout leaders, with Fergie Jenkins leading the way, and also Hall of Famer Bob Gibson. Then his 1978 Topps Burger King card, which has an alternative or an alternate image than his regular Topps card. Then finally his 1984 Donruss card, where he's back with the Cubs. And then the 1988 Pacific Legends. All right, so how did your selections and your top 5 rankings compare to mine? Well, at number 5 overall, you had his 1969 Topps card, which I did not have in my top 5. And number 4 was his 1967 Topps card, which I had as my 5th favorite. At number 3, you had his 1972 Topps card, which I also did not have in my top 5. And number 2 was his 1966 Topps card, which I did not have in my top 5. And then finally, overall, we do agree on one card. His 1975 Topps card in general was your favorite Fergie Jenkins card as well as mine. All right, for Phil Niekro, again, we have 24 Topps cards to choose from 1964 to 1987. And you may be a little surprised at some of my selections, but there's a reasoning behind them. They're not all going to be quote-unquote vintage cards in my top 5. So starting off at number 5, I went with his 1972 Topps card. So we do have one of his vintage cards there on my list. I like the plain Braves uniform from that year, the design of the 72 Topps set, the background there, it looks like almost like orange trees or something like that. Obviously during spring training, just looks like a regular little metal fence in the back. I'm not sure exactly where that was taken, but you see a player there in the background. It's sort of a standard pitcher pose, that fake follow through. But overall, I think that's a pretty attractive card there for Phil Niekro. At number 4, I went with his 1987 Topps card. So here, I think in the background there, he's probably around 47 years old. I don't know. I just think that's amazing. Obviously, the knuckleball contributed to his longevity. You're not gonna, blow out your arm throwing the knuckleball most of the time. But the fact that he pitched to age 47, I mean, he looks like a grandfather. His graying hair. I just think that's a very interesting photo. And of course, the 87 Topps card has that great wood border design. At number 3, I went with his 81 Topps card. And if you look at the image of Phil Niekro, the reason why I chose this, he's smiling. It looks like he's in the middle of the game. Doesn't look like it's warm-ups or something, although it could be, I guess, in between innings when he's warming up before the batter takes his at-bat. But how many pitchers do you see in the major leagues getting ready to throw a pitch and he's smiling? Normally you want to have that, mean, that dominating look like I'm going to get you out. And here he is smiling. He probably knows he's going to be throwing a knuckleball, and who knows where that ball's going to go. So I just found it a sort of funny, interesting card there, the 1981 Topps card. So that's my third favorite Phil Niekro card. At number 2, I wanted this 84 Topps card. And the reason why, I do like the 84 Topps design, but if you notice his follow through there and his right hand, you can tell that he just threw one of his knuckleballs. Just the way that the fingers and stuff, he just had that pop out of his hand. I think it's a great sort of an action shot, I guess, of him pitching. And you can see down there at the bottom, it is towards the end of his career, and then the gray hair, and he does look all of probably 40, 44 maybe in that picture. But I just found the image of him throwing there, you can tell that he just threw a knuckleball there. So I thought that was an interesting photo. So at number 2 was his 84 Topps card. And at number 1, probably the best action shot. I tend to go with or like action shots of players. And at number 1, I went with his 1980 Topps card. Now, it's sort of hard to tell whether he's actually in the process of throwing one of his knuckleballs. Almost looks like a fastball there, but nonetheless, I think that's a great action shot of Phil Niekro, and of course the classic 1980 Topps design. So I had this one as my favorite Phil Niekro card. So would be very interesting to see what all of your choices are for your top 5. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around now and show off the few Phil Niekro cards that I have in my collection. Now, before I show off my Phil Niekro cards, I forgot to mention another reason why I liked his 1987 Topps card, the one I said that he looks like a grandpa throwing on the mound there. Being in a Cleveland Indians uniform reminded me of the Eddie Harris character in Major League, the aging pitcher that Vaughn came in and replaced him as the closer. Just for some reason, that 87 Topps card reminded me of that Eddie Harris character in Major League. So that was another reason why I chose the 1987 Topps card as part of my top 5. All right, I have a few Phil Niekro cards here in my collection. The first one is his 73 Topps card with the Atlanta Braves. Basic, just the little portrait image there. Like the centering on the back of this one. Sometimes it's really hard with those 73s. Then I have his 75. May only be a, PSA 6, but I think that has great eye appeal. So there's the back. Then I have his 78. Come on, there we go. There we go. Check out that warm-up jacket. Then also in the 78 top set is the 1977 strikeout leaders along with Nolan Ryan. So 2 Hall of Famers on this card. Obviously, in terms of the hobby, the card is, wanted probably more by Nolan Ryan collectors than Phil Niekro collectors, but still cool to have 2 Hall of Famers on a league leaders card. And here is the back. And then finally, I thought I had his 1980 Topps card, but no, my last Phil Niekro card is his 1979 Topps card. Check out the hairdo there with the Braves hat. I'm not sure if that's a warm-up jacket or what he's wearing there, but and there is the back. So yeah, that's the extent of my Phil Niekro collection at this point in time. Maybe someday I'll work on doing a complete playing days run. Shouldn't be too expensive. I think his rookie card obviously is the most expensive card. I believe that took a pretty big jump when he got elected to the Hall of Fame. Well, no. It just happened to, it was like, I think it was a COVID thing. For whatever reason, the Phil Niekro rookie card just started going up in value. Maybe it was because after he passed away. I'm not sure, but I remember the 64 Topps Phil Niekro rookie card just jumping up in price early on in COVID. Not sure if it's, I'm sure it's come down some since then. But yeah, these are my Phil Niekro cards. And let's go and spin the Wheel of Names to see which player gets selected. All right, we have 27 names remaining on the Wheel of Names. As you can see, there is the list. So let's give it a spin and see what player it selects. So next week's video is going to be on, which one is it? Oh, okay, Vita Blue. Now, I don't think I have any Vita Blue cards, and I'm not overly familiar with his run of cards, so this will be very interesting to go through his cards, see which ones I find are my top 5 favorites. So looking forward to next week's video on Vita Blue. But as a final reminder, in the comments, would really love to know which are your top 5 favorite Phil Niekro cards. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.